often said if I needed a tagline for Dr. Nail Nipper, that it would be, when was the last time you looked at grandma's feet? And here we have a perfect example of that. We have this really capable man who just hasn't been able to get to his feet to trim his nails. He says 6 months, I say probably longer. But we often assume that our elders are taking care of their hygiene needs just like they always have. But this can be one of the first things to go. So for anybody who provides care for grandparents or elderly relatives or is a caregiver for somebody else, take off their shoes and socks every once in a while and check their feet. So this guy's really great and has some good stories to tell, and I hope that you enjoy our video today. Oh yeah, in fact, I think all right.
If you've got a bigger one, don't show it to me, okay? It'll scare me.
Okay. It's not scary. This has a little bit more power behind it, so okay. So let's just get these all trimmed, and then we'll get you on a regular schedule of coming in.
Great.
And
I should have done this a long time ago.
well, you're here now.
But then I didn't know about you, so.
Right, no should-haves, could-haves. You're here now.
And don't tell me when you're planning on retiring, okay?
Okay. That's
No.
not even in my
In your
thoughts
dreams?
yet.
Okay.
Well, in my dreams, yes. In my thoughts, no.
Yeah.
We still have a few years of lease left on our office, so at least not for a few more years.
I had my GP retire, who I'd had about 12 years, and then I got another GP, and I guess I should have looked for a younger guy. And he retired like 2.5 years later, and now I'm trying to get a new GP at a line of clinic in Plymouth, and
Nobody's taking new patients.
nobody's taking new patients. The only people who are taking new patients are the people who are out of med school.
All right, so let me ask you, how long do you think it's been since this nail's been trimmed? A year and a half?
6 months at least.
Okay. All right, well, let's get everything here trimmed in. What we'll do is I'll also thin that one out,
Okay.
and we'll trim down the calluses also. Oh, this is gonna feel so much better.
Oh, I feel better already.
Your shoe size is gonna go down a couple sizes. All right,
And I'm not going to go through socks like I did before.
right. Right.
Should I?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
You don't have to help me. Okay. It's a big chunk. Did you want it?
I've heard of the tooth fairy, but I've never heard of the
Toenail fairy?
of the toenail fairy. But if you tell me there is one, I'll believe you.
No. Not
Okay.
driving out to where you live to put $1 under your pillow.
Yeah. I guess I was just intimidated about trimming that nail. I told my wife, I said, I know I'm going to screw something up, cut into my, nail bed or whatever, and
Yeah.
it'll get infected, and then I'm really in trouble.
Well, we call that bathroom surgery. And I tell people, if you can reach your foot and you can see what you're doing, that's fine. But just always have some like Neosporin or bacitracin, an
Yeah.
antibiotic,
Yeah,
sitting around at the house.
yeah.
But no, we'll get this comfortable and taken care of, so you don't have to really worry about it anymore. But I can see why it would feel daunting.
Well, I don't know. I'm just a chicken, that way.
Well, I can see it way better from down here
Yeah.
also, so.
The other thing I wanted to ask you, doctor, is I read that you're supposed to cut your toenails straight across.
When you do it from up where your eyes are,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
When I do it, I can see if I trim it back on the edges that I'm getting all the way over to the edge and not leaving a little piece.
Okay. Okay. So that's why they say that.
Right. Is that the camera?
No, that's my phone.
Oh, your phone? Okay. I thought the camera was...
That's my wife giving me a list of errands to do in the morning. What I'm going to have you do with your big toe of the other foot, while I'm doing this, I want you to draw the alphabet in the air with this big toe while I'm doing this one. No, just leave it just with your big toe, just draw the alphabet in the air. Okay, now switch. With that one. Don't worry about what I'm doing over here. You just pay attention to that left foot. Keep going. Keep going. See, when you're concentrating on what I'm doing, that's when you jump. If I can It just seems so involuntary.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done with the nails. I'm just going to trim down some of these calluses. And do you need to go in another room, Cassie? Okay. So these on this foot are not bad.
Okay.
It's your right foot where they're a little bit thicker. All right, can I, Cass, videographer, please? Can I have you come over? Is it too close, you think? Oh, we'll try. If it gets blurry, I'll. Yeah, I love to teach, you know, which is one of the reasons I do these videos. What did you do for your career?
Well, at least I can remember what I did. When I got out of college, I had a 2-year deferment for grad school because I went to military high school down in Illinois. And the department of the Defense Department sent me a letter when I was a sophomore in undergrad school and said, if you join the ROTC for the junior and senior year, they'll pay you $50 a month or $80 a month, and you'll be commissioned as a second lieutenant when you graduate. And most importantly, we will give you in writing a 2-year deferment, 24-month deferment to go to grad school. Now, unless you were in the medical field, or unless you were signed up in some type of a military program for medicine, there were no deferments. There were none. So, getting that deferment, I said at the time, I said, that saved my life. I graduated from undergrad school in '69.
So right in the Vietnam
There
War.
were 420,000 troops in Vietnam. 2 years later, there was less than 100,000. And I ended up, during that 2-year period, I filed for a conscientious objector status in the military 1A, which is almost impossible to get. Anyway, long story short, I was able to get that status, and I was transferred from the infantry to the medical corps, the medical service corps, and I served as an admin officer for 2 years active, and then I got off 6 months early, and in the fine print they said that's another 4 years in the reserve, in the ready reserve. So anyway, but I have a lot of admiration for a lot of people in the military. You know what I mean? I was totally against the Vietnam War. And I was prepared to go to Canada if I didn't get that status. So I was blessed. I was fortunate.
Yeah.
My life has been, and then I married a woman that's a wonderful, absolute wonderful person.
Well, we'll make sure we get that on the video. So you were in the military and the medical corps. What did you do after?
After that, I went before that, in my graduate program, I went to Northwestern University Graduate School for business.
Okay.
I didn't graduate because my father died suddenly, and I had to move back home. I was living in, the medical, you're familiar with where the medical school is for Northwestern in downtown Chicago?
Yeah.
Well, the business school was across the street from the medical school. So I was living there, and I had to move back home to Aurora, Illinois, because both my parents were alcoholics. My dad was a high-functioning alcoholic. My mother was a low-functioning alcoholic. So I had to move home because I only had one brother who was 10 years older, and he basically mandated that to me. He said, "I've got a family. I've got 3 kids, so I moved back home."
Well, everything down here looks good. And so, I think what we'll do is we'll get you on the schedule for 2.5 months.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
And then we can make it shorter or longer as needed.
Okay.
Thank you for letting me do the video. That was a very interesting second toenail.
Does this mean that it's possibly you could get an Emmy? They have these different categories. That,
No.
No, I mean.
No, but, okay, we're done.